Okay, welcome to A Course of Love. A few new faces in the house tonight. And I'd like to share with you the only guidelines for the Course of Love is that you don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. Some of the things you hear might be hard to believe. Some of the things you hear might be startling. And if you will apply the ideas, then the promise is you'll see that the ideas are true. So it's really about the application of the ideas. And since it's no accident that we're here, I always say, even if this is your first and last time of ever coming through the door, it's no accident that you're here. So it's a possibility that there might be something that would be helpful to hear. So the question that I'd like to ask all of us to ask ourselves tonight is this: do I want to be right or do I want to be happy?
Happy.
I just want you to just think about that for a second. Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Would you be willing to let go of your need to think that you're right if the result would be that you would get an answer that would bring you joy? It's a good question. The other thing that the Course in Miracles teaches is that in order to grow and to go to the next level, there's only one thing you need to remind yourself of, he says, and that's that what I know may not be all there is to learn, even though I'm an adult. What I know may not be all there is to learn. So as part of the warm-up and getting centered, there's some quick questions that I'm going to run through that are kind of like give us a minute to bring our energy in from the day. And they're all from A Course of Love. The first one is, what is one of the hardest things to believe? And then the Course of Love says, well, one of the hardest things to believe is that effort is not called for. How can you receive your heart's desires? By the acceptance of these words. In other words, how can I receive my heart? How can I receive my heart's desire?
Sorry to interrupt for a minute. Somebody's RAV4 is in front
Nobody, there's nobody here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no problem.
She's yelling at me.
I know.
She's yelling at you now.
Yeah, we have already informed our neighbor next door that it's nobody in here. I know it. It's like we've told her it's none of us, but she really wants it to be us, but it's really not us. Because it would be convenient if it was. I can understand. It would be convenient if it was us.
Yes.
So part of her, well, isn't she? Let's acknowledge her.
Yay!
She's an incredible teacher because she'd rather be right than to be happy. You see what I'm saying? Her desire to be right about it being us is delaying her happiness, which would be to check around somewhere else, so that she could find whose truck it really is. You can look at it that way too. So she'd rather be right, which is think it's us, than to be happy. Then realize that it's not us. So, okay, so we'll move on. So we want to thank her for her desire to be right, even though she's wrong. As a matter of fact, the Course in Miracles says that the average person gets up in the morning with the goal of being right, even if they're wrong. That the average person gets up in the morning with a vested interest to be in being right about whatever conclusions, decisions, and judgments they're going to make that day. And that's true. It's another one of those things that's so simple that sometimes we miss it. I want to be right. I prefer to be right. When I wake up in the morning, I want to go through my day and I want to think I'm right about the way I'm seeing everything in one way or another. So I do wake up in the morning with the goal of being right. Sometimes even when I'm wrong. So anyway, let peace extend from our mind to yours. Okay, and do you know that happiness does not require you to define it? Happiness does not require you to put a name to it before it can be yours. So do you know that the idea that you have to know what your happiness is not necessary for your happiness to show up? Which is, again, opposite to the way that we're programmed. We believe the game is, I'll think up what makes me happy, and then I'll try to bend everything and everybody to my will to help that happen. The next thing the Course of Love says is, do you know that the first thing you need to do to have happiness is to stop trying to put a name on it or a name on them? Because sometimes people are walking into a room and decide they're attracted to somebody and then decide they're going to have a relationship with that person and that person is going to be their happiness. So sometimes you have to choose not to put a name on it. Sometimes the best relationships you ever have are the ones you never expected and you weren't looking for, and it showed up when you least expected. As a matter of fact, when I talk to most people and they talk about how they connected up, many times that's exactly how it happened. They weren't looking for someone, for that person to show up. Is anybody here that can testify to that in a relationship?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it might have happened when you were determined that it wasn't going to happen. And it usually happens when you don't need it to happen. It usually happens when you're okay if it never happens. It's usually when you're desperate for one that they don't happen, which is wonderful. Because that frees somebody from having a relationship with a desperate person. So I think that's good for both of you, that the universe works that way. If I think my happiness comes from something outside of myself, the universe isn't going to support me in that false idea, so the universe doesn't aid me in having it. Because it'll further convince me that my happiness comes from something outside myself. It's great to me that when you feel peace on the inside, that's when it shows up. Because then you won't be a psycho. because you will be okay either way it goes. You'll ultimately be okay. You may feel some sense of loss if it changes, but you go, okay, I'm feeling this, I'm disappointed, I wish it had been different, but I'm gonna be okay. See, that's the way it is when you already had peace in the first place. Why? Because you know it's possible to have peace without them. Why? Because you had peace without them. That's how you know. It's not a theory. You actually were okay without them. So it is possible to be okay without them again, unless you feel guilty about the way it ended. Then if you feel guilty about the way that it ended, you're going to try to reenact it again for a better outcome. And you'll find yourself being attached. So when you break up in guilt, you're probably going to try to make it all up. And if they're not around because they may have moved on, you'll be on the lookout for somebody else to make up for what they did or for what happened with them. So you'll be looking at that person in terms of what you went through with the other person. So you won't actually be dealing with that person at all. You actually be in a relationship with the person that's not there. The other one. And you'll go, oh, I see what you're doing. That's just what old Bubba did. You know what I'm saying? You'll be looking at them like everything they do. You'll be saying, see, that's what happened the last time. You know what I'm saying? So you're not really dealing with the person at all. You're just dealing with your past experience. Same thing about jobs or anything. Got fired off the last one. Well, this time, this is going to be a better outcome. So I'm dealing with this job in terms of what happened to the last job. So when I say special relationships, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. You can have a special relationship with anything. Money, your job, your body, your health, your clothes, your car. A lot of people have special relationships with their cars.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I mean real serious special relationships with their cars.
And other people's cars.
And other people's cars. Well, she has a special relationship with her She has a special relationship with her driveway.
Oh, man.
Right?
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart.
God.
Yeah. Because, the next question is, are you not ready to listen to a new voice? Are you not ready to listen to a new voice? Do you know that this course of love is nothing but a trigger? These words are meant to trigger you to know that the time is now and the time has come. The time is now and the time has come. The time is now for your happiness. The time has come for your fulfillment. The time is now. Can you let the worries of today leave your mind? Can you let the disappointments of yesterday go and be no more? Can you let the planning for the future cease? Can you be still and know yourself? Wow. Great questions. Am I sitting here right now worried about something that happened today? Am I sitting here right now concerned about something that's going to happen tomorrow? One of the reasons why I love to do these classes is that I don't care what I'm telling myself that may be causing any form of conflict in my mind before I sit down and do this. While I'm doing this for this hour, I'm on another level of consciousness. I'm feeling things differently. I'm relating to things differently. Whatever I thought was on my mind before the class is not pressing on me as much. I feel better. So that's proof right there. That all I have to do to feel better is focus on something new, something different. That's it. Wish I could make it more complicated than that for you, Roz, but that's it. Okay? So we left off last week on page 243, if you got the book. And we're going to start with the section 29:13. And it says that no matter how busy your schedule, it is only a schedule. In terms of your perception of it. Your schedule is just another way of saying your life. It's just funny, the Course of Love is saying, when a person is saying, you know, I'm really ready to do something different with my life, he says, they're really saying, I'm really ready to do something different with my schedule. When they say I'm ready to have a new life, they're really saying, I'm ready to have a new schedule. Think about it. That's exactly what it is. Because we come up with a new routine, right? And a new way that we're going to organize everything. So the Course of Love is just saying, most people are coming up with a new schedule, which isn't the same as coming up with a new life. And remember, we don't have to believe any of this. So you're looking for what clicks for you. Then it says, in other words, your schedule is just an alternative view of how you look at your life. When seen that way is absolutely necessary. No wholeness, which is happiness, will be possible for you while you look at life in terms of schedules, plans, timetables, or things to get done. No real wholeness and completeness is possible. So you hear people say there's not wholeness and completeness in their life, and usually those same people are people who are acting primarily according to schedules, plans, and timetables, in the idea that they got a lot of stuff they got to do. And this book is saying to us that is not the way to know wholeness. Yes, but, 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 yes. See, the truth calls for guts. So when I've set it up according to my schedule, and I hear that schedules don't ultimately make you happy, it's going to obviously bring up a defensiveness around the part of me that believes that it's schedules and plans and timetables. Even though you know that's true. Your own experience has shown you that that's true. You've been doing schedules and timetables your whole life, but you're still searching for complete happiness. So it's not like it's even saying something abstract. What my ego says is you just haven't had the right plans, the right schedules, the right timetables, and the right things to get done. That's the problem. There's nothing wrong with having that. You're just doing the wrong ones. But this book is saying, no, the whole idea that you need to have such a rigidly defined life is what keeps you from having true joy. It is. Then it says, no wholeness or happiness will be possible for you while you compartmentalize your life into designated pieces, giving yourself time for work, time for leisure. Seeing them is not the same thing. Someone who is really fulfilling their function there is no separation between work and leisure, because their work is something they love to do. So they almost feel weird getting paid for it. I've heard actors say that a lot who have a successful acting career. Same thing about a musician. I heard Lyle Lovett say it the other day. He said, that the most blessed thing in the world to him is the fact that he gets paid to do what he loves. So he never goes to work. But people who go to work to do something that they don't love, then those are the people who have to separate it. There's a time for work and then there's a time for leisure. That's called living for the weekend. Yeah? I'm living for, you can feel the vibe on Friday evening. It's a kind of Friday evening insanity. Have y'all ever noticed that? It's like an energy on, like tomorrow evening, you'll feel the energy. People are so excited because they got 2 days that they can do what they want to do for 2 days. And so what we're trying to move to is a reality that you don't know the difference between Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because all of those days you're doing what you love. But again, it takes some guts to pull that off. I remember when I left my regular job in the world because I felt like it was time to listen to my guidance and studying the truth, that I should take my stand and go out in the world and do what I wanted to do, which was to teach. And yet at that time I had 2 young children that were in junior high school, and one getting ready to go to high school, and child support and everything else. But you reach a point when it's time for you to fulfill your function and you've had enough, that you heal your relationship with spirit enough to feel like you could go out and make your move. And you'll know when it's time, because when it's time, you'll do it. Even if it seems crazy, you'll do it. You know.
True.
And so everybody's going to reach that point on their spiritual path where they put their heart before what the world says you ought to be doing. It'll be, what can I get my heart into? But to believe that you are not sustained by the Creator is the scary way to do it. To feel like there's some connection between you and God and your ability to communicate with the higher power within you is the key to being able to do it without losing your mind. You see what I'm saying? Like I teach full time, right? And in most cases I do it on a donation basis. If I did not believe that there was something else that I'm connected to that's looking out for me, I couldn't enjoy this. Because I never know who's going to be here. And even if someone's here, I never know what I'm going to receive. So if I thought it was the people, I could never enjoy what I'm doing. So I have to do what the Course says. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. And I bless and I thank the channels that God can work through in my life. You know, so if a person wants to be self-employed, if they want to do their own thing, I would advise them to do a lot of meditation and prayer and healing their relationship with Source. So they're just going to be scared to death because they're going to have a 9-to-5 mentality without a 9-to-5 job. And it takes an entirely different mentality and attitude to do self-employment. Those two attitudes are nowhere connected. And some people never should try to do self-employment. Mm-hmm. They don't have the natures for that, and that's okay. It would be too scary. Mm-hmm. And you know who you are. Okay. So then you want to make sure that you're doing something that you love, that you can be employed doing. But still it should be something that you love. Life is life. Life is as love is. Life is service to God. God is service to life. You are God in life. We covered that last week. Okay. On page 245. First of all, before I go any further, any questions or comments about anything that I've said so far? You got it. Everybody's got it. Everybody's got it. You got it. You got it. Okay.
Got it.
All right. The universe exists in reciprocal relationship or holy relationship rather than special relationship. This is the nature of existence. As unity is the nature of existence, and unity cannot be changed, and unity has not changed, although you believe it not. Unity is a joyful relationship, as the nature of relationship is joy. Once you have given up your belief in separation, that relationship is joy, will be known to you. So from A Course of Love and A Course in Miracles perspective, it's not really a relationship until there is joy. What's the point otherwise? Yeah. So how can I tell when my relationship with you has really become real? It's really become real when I'm experiencing joy with you and you're experiencing joy with me. Why? Because I'm going to want to stay in it. Yeah. That's why it's going to be real, because I want to be there. If it's not, I'm going to check out, even if my body is there. I'm checked out. So the relationship actually isn't real until love is there, until love is expressing. So it's like Spirit is saying to us, don't look at it as like the only reason why you're in a relationship is so you can grow, so I can get rid of all my blocks, which is great. That is part of it. But even beyond that, you're in the relationship to experience happiness and joy. That's the real reason, because that's what love is. Love is joy. So I'm in love with you means I'm in joy with you. If I'm mad at you, I'm calling for joy with you. I'm requesting joy right now. Why? Because I want to hit you with a plate. So that's my way of knowing that I'm calling for some joy right now. I'm calling for some happiness right now. I'm requesting a different perception of this relationship right now. So what's the first thing you should say to a person in a situation like that? You should ask that person, do you want to join or do you want to separate, before we even go through all that? Let's get the goal clear at the beginning. You're upset, okay. Do you want to get beyond the upset to us having peace together, or do you just want to be separate? Because if you just want to be separate, there's absolutely nothing I can say or do that's going to change your mind, and you're going to use everything I say or do to become even more separate. If you want to join with me, you're going to take every possibility, every opportunity out of everything I say to heal this situation, because you want to stay joined with me. So any little bone I give you that you can take to make this work, you're going to do it. We've all done that, probably, if we be honest. We've been in relationships where we wanted the relationship so bad that the person gave us just the slightest bit of encouragement to hang in there a little bit longer, we would. Because we wanted to be joined with them. And then we've all reached that point where we have been in relationships. I'm assuming that you all know what I'm talking about. That you have been in relationships where you thought you really stayed in there no matter what. Mm-hmm. And you've been in relationships where you've had enough. Mm-hmm. And then once you've had enough, you don't care what they say, you don't want to get back in it. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's the same thing I'm saying. Do you want to join or do you want to separate? And pretty much the person knows that at the very beginning. I've cited in the past in doing counseling with couples. Some of the most depressed couples I've ever seen have been couples that I've shown them how they could stay together. You know what I'm saying? They were just going through the notion. Well, the motions. I'm gonna come and pretend like we want to get counseling so we can, because you should. You see, but the truth is, both of us have had it with each other. So if you tell me things I can do to heal it, I'm not going to be very enthusiastic. I'm actually going to be depressed because I really want to believe there's no way I can stay with this person another day, and I wanted to have a counselor to validate that. You see what I mean? And then if they want to stay together, they are totally enthusiastic about the possibilities of what they can do now that they have some support in how to do that, because they want to be with each other. So you know who's going to last and who's not before they leave the office, because the decision has already been made. Whew. Mm-hmm. So if Spirit is giving us ways to have happiness, let's say, and we're not willing to adapt those attitudes, we're like the people who have made the decision that we don't want to join with our happiness. Just like they didn't want to join with each other, then if someone tells you the way to have something and you're not willing to do it, then you should be honest enough to tell yourself it's a part of you that doesn't really want it. Especially if you have no enthusiasm about it, because enthusiasm creates. So I'm always paying attention to what turns me on, what inspires me, what moves me, because that's what I'm going to manifest. What I say I ought to want doesn't really make me feel enthusiastic. So if you say something like, yes, I really want to heal my relationship with God, because that's the thing that you ought to say if you're a good spiritual person. You know, I'm trying to heal my relationship with Source. But if you say that with absolutely no juice, you're just saying what you think you ought to say. But like I've always joked, if I came in this room, if I was to tell each and every one of you, I have made the decision because I really want to learn a lot about giving and receiving, that I'm going to give each and every one of you $1,000. I bet you anything you show more enthusiasm than you are right now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's something that inspires you. Mm-hmm. That's something that moves you. You cannot not respond to something that moves you. So it's really easy to tell what you're into and what you're not. Because one of the biggest lessons is to learn how to stop fooling yourself. And that's what I love about the truth. It teaches you how to stop deceiving yourself. Because we'll say anything. But the truth is, do I mean what I say is what a conscious being is trying to do. They're trying to get to the point that they know what they really mean rather than what they say. So it's not what you say, it's really what you are expressing. That old adage is so true. Action speaks louder than words. It really, 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 really does. You know how a person treats you when they really care about you. All of us do. And we know how people treat you when they don't. But sometimes I want this person to care about me, a situation to be there even though I know it's not there. So what I'll do is I'll come up with things I'll tell myself to overlook the obvious. So what do you do in a situation like that? Ask your friends. And then believe them. That's the simplest way out of it. You're in a relationship and you're wondering if it's really good for you or whether y'all really, should be together. Ask your friends. Ask your friends. Because they know. You're usually the last one to know, but they could have told you months before. But they were afraid to lose your friendship or afraid that you were going to get upset with them. But they know, you know. If there's somebody that wants you, that doesn't want you that you want, then let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. They're not going to give you the juice you want. They're not. You know, it's that simple, but not emotionally. Because for some reason I think I need them to somehow complete myself. And that's my mistake. When you're seeing relationships correctly, when someone leaves your life, you should be as happy as when someone arrives that you love. And I'm not there yet all the time. But that's where it's gonna be one day. Oh, that ended. That was a blessing. We gotta get there, folks. We've got to get there. We got to become masters of release. We got to become masters of releasing. You know, you'd be amazed at how much better somebody will treat you when they know that you won't put up with their stuff. When they know you love yourself so much that you will not allow yourself to be treated badly in any way. You'll be amazed at how they'll get on it when they won't take your stuff. You know, so you're going to attract more and more people like that as you become more and more loving. That's the side effect. As your self-esteem rises, you attract people with higher self-esteem. So they're just like you. They're not going to take abuse, mistreatment, attack, projection any more than you are. So it's like you're trapped in relationships where you got to act more sane if you want to keep them. Isn't that the trip? Because guilty people who have low self-esteem will put up with a lot more crap than somebody who loves themselves. So everybody keeps saying they want to be with people who love themselves, but they don't know what they're asking for. Because if you want to be with somebody who loves themselves, they will not put up with attack, projection, and blame. And guilt. All the games that people who don't know what love is use to manipulate others. So the more you try to make them feel guilty, the more they're going to back away from you. Where if they were insecure people, the more you make them feel guilty, the more they'll see if they can please you. You're right, I'm such a pitiful thing. What can I do? Give me another chance. Give me another chance. Well, see, as you move into love, you're not going to meet people that's going to be saying that. They're going to be saying stuff like, well, if who I am is not enough, I bless you and I wish you happiness and I really hope that you would find the person that would give you what it is you think you need, and I'll get on Match.com with you and help you fill out your profile. Because obviously who I am is not something that you see that meets your need. And so I'm not going to change. But what I will do is support you in having what you want. So are you really ready to move into that level of consciousness? That's really where you're going now. You're going where the old games won't work anymore.
Yeah.
Woo, man. How many of y'all believe what I'm talking about? I mean, it really is. If
You're absolutely right.
That's right. If you move into love, you move into people who aren't game players. You move into people who are authentic, who are going to be honest, who are going to call you on your stuff.
Yeah.
Who are going to be compassionate, who are going to take responsibility, who are going to do the things that they love, but they're not going to try to limit you. So it's a totally different game than bargains, agreements, guilt, fear, anger to make a person do what you want to do. It's a different ball game. And that's where we're headed, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God that's where we're headed. You know. Also, he says, you're here to be served and to serve. How do you feel about being served? Think about that. Some people are lousy receivers. You try to give them anything, they fight you like you just try to pick up the tab for a dinner, and they'll spend 5 minutes telling you, no, that's okay, no, don't do that, no, don't do that, no, that's okay, I'll take it, no. So then there'll be the same people wondering why things don't come to them. Don't even see that they are telling the universe, no, don't give me anything, I can't receive. So you pay them a compliment. No, that's not true. You don't really know me. No, don't tell me that. No, they don't say thank you. You know, I tell people, thank you for your correct perception. It freaks them out. They say something wonderful to me and I go, thank you for your correct perception. And it's like they love it. Because most people won't do that. They oh no, you don't know. Don't say that. Oh, they think, the Course says we've been taught that self-debasement is humility. That if you put yourself down, you're a humble person. And if you say that you are valuable, then people say that you're egotistical. Like a person who would walk in the room and say, I feel like I'm a beautiful man, a handsome man. I'm strong and I'm powerful and I'm conscious and I'm kind and I just want to be loving. And I think I would be a catch for anybody. Insecure people who don't know the truth would go, he thinks he's so much. I don't never want to go out with him. And then he would be happy. He would be so happy that somebody like that wouldn't want him. And then a person that's conscious, a woman that's conscious, or a man that's conscious would go, wow, yeah, that's a person who really sees their value. That's who the heck I want to hang out with, because they're not going to be so afraid. So they'll be more fun. See, that's what I'm looking for. I see somebody do that, I go, cool. Yeah, this is not going to be super high maintenance Sally. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know about high maintenance people, don't you?
Yes.
Haven't you ever been in a relationship with high maintenance? You just can't do enough. I don't care what you do, they're never happy, you never please them. You can't please them. It's impossible to please a person who doesn't love themselves yet. They don't even know what makes them happy. They just hope you keep trying to do so much that maybe one of the things you're trying will work. That takes so much time. I don't know what makes me happy, but just keep on trying. And maybe you're going to find to do something that really turns me on one day. But I don't really know what that would be, even if it showed up, because I don't know what I want. Woo, high maintenance. High maintenance. The separation, then it goes on to say to us, the universe is like is a joyful relationship, as the nature of relationship is joy. And don't jump in. I don't mind stopping and answer questions or comments. As a matter of fact, it brings it home, because all of us are dealing with relationship issues. This would be a perfect time to talk about it. But I'm protecting my ego, so I can't really talk about anything. All right. The choice to change your belief is before you. Are you not ready to make the choice to change your belief? As you once chose separation, you can now choose unity. Not knowing that unity was a choice prevented you from making this choice before now. Now I tell you clearly, the choice is yours. Choose once again. If I'm going to have a peaceful relationship with you all, I have to decide I want to have a peaceful relationship with you all. If I want to have a connection with you, I have to extend to you to have a connection with you. I can't say I want to have a relationship with people of a like mind and then just stand around or sit around and wait for everybody to come to me and then walk away saying these people aren't friendly. You aren't friendly. You're the one that's not extending to anybody. The Course in Miracles says the only thing that's missing in any situation is what you haven't given. That really upsets people. People hate to hear that one. What's missing in this relationship? What you aren't giving? No, I am giving. I'm the one that's giving. They're never giving to me. Well, if you were truly giving it, you'd be receiving it. So you're fooling yourself. Because if you were really giving it, you wouldn't be mad. That's deep too. If you were really giving it, you would have received when you gave it. In other words, if I love you, brother, and I do something wonderful for you, it feels good to do something wonderful for you because I care about you. So I received the joy when I gave.
Definitely.
It's not, I gave it to you, now next week you got to give me something back. If I was doing it correctly, when I gave to you, I felt good. That was my receiving the gift of my giving. Everybody with me on that?
Yep, you're right.
False giving is, I gave to you and it looks like I didn't get anything back. True giving is, I gave and I received at the same time. I fixed you this meal, the joy wasn't fixing this meal for you. I've already received my benefit. Did anybody ask you about a SUV when you came up? Okay.
Do you see one?
Do you see one? It's gone. Thank goodness. Or she would be like bumming us when we came down. She could have gone postal on us anyway.
I'm just waiting for you to confess that it's yours.
Yeah. Nope. It's not mine. How can you give with joy? You can give with joy when you're giving where you want to give. How do you know when you're giving with sacrifice? Because you're resenting it. So the Course was saying you're not giving love, you're just giving hate and fear. I'm giving you a gift that I really don't want to give you, so I'm actually giving you fear and separation. I'm not really giving you a gift. That happens a lot on Christmas. There's a lot of fear exchanges that come down, let me tell you. I bought you this gift, but you just don't know how many months I'm gonna pay this doggone gift off. So I'm really not giving you anything but resentment. But you don't care because you really wanted that iPod. So you can resent all you want to. I'm glad I got this car. So you might want to think about that.
Earl, would you mind saying that again when you give with how do you know you're
Okay, yeah.
resentment?
Yeah. If you're giving with a sense of resentment or you're giving with a sense of fear, then the Course says that what you're doing is believing that you're sacrificing. You're believing that you're losing by what you're giving, and you're not gaining by what you're giving. So as you evolve in consciousness, what this material says is that you start to pay more attention to what you feel. Because you can intellectually tell yourself anything, and you can intellectually justify anything, but you know how you feel. See, I could say I'm giving you the gift because I want to, but I know I didn't really feel complete peace about giving you the gift. So you'll pay more attention to your feelings as you wake up. And what you'll start doing is you'll move toward love and away from misery, away from fear. It's actually people who don't recognize the truth yet, they do just the opposite. They run away from people who appreciate them and love them and treat them nice, and they go completely toward the people who mistreat them and don't treat them nice. And we all know people like that. That if you're kind to them, they run away. And if you abuse them, they're right there because that's what they think they deserve. So you're the one that's giving them what they deserve. That's why they'll be with the abuser, because the abuser is giving them what they think they deserve. Right. If someone comes in here and I say you're innocent, guiltless, and sinless, and they think they're guilty and sinful, then they're gonna think I'm the devil in an angel's cloak. They're gonna think this guy right here, I'm waiting for him to break out the Kool-Aid in a minute, because he must be some kind of a cult leader because he told me that I deserve to be treated with love. Think about that. He told me I deserve to be happy, so he's suspect. But if I go to somebody and they say, you deserve to go to hell, you're sinful and you're guilty, and then you have 15,000 people who tithe. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's true.
Because the person is telling them what they believe about themselves.
Yeah.
And since the person is telling them what they're believing about themselves, they believe they can trust him. I'm saying to you what you don't believe about yourself, so it makes me seem untrustworthy. So first you decide to love yourself and you believe you deserve love, then you go to the new teachings, the new workshops, the new classes. It's not the other way around. It's not like you came to this class and then you start loving yourself. You decided to love yourself, then you came to the class. That's the way it works. The class is an effect of the decision you made to reinforce the decision you made. So a person that wants to go somewhere where they're condemned, they've already made the decision they're guilty. And now they go to the place that validates it. Okay? And hopefully with an incredible choir. Okay, now. Because that's what I did. When I grew up, I went to a church that believed in a lot of fearful ideas about God. But at the same time, the music was fantastic. You know, the worst singer in the crowd, in the choir, sounded like Aretha Franklin. That was like the person who was way back in the back that didn't solo. Okay. You know, I mean, Black Baptist Church is totally a radical experience. You all ought to try it sometime. You haven't never been there. You know what I'm saying? They ain't quiet. Okay, nobody in the black church is sitting up there like this. You will not see it in a black church. You know. So I grew up in a culture that the whole idea of God evoked a lot of emotion and a lot of enthusiasm. You know, and it still takes me a minute to get used to not experiencing that when I'm talking about God and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I can jam and put on some music in the class and I can watch people go into total terror right before. You know, it's funny because of how we were brought up. That's all. It's just because we were brought up that way. That's all. So again, whatever you give is what you receive, right? So it says, as you make your choice, remember your choice must be wholehearted, for it is in wholeheartedness that the power of choice exists. What does that mean? It means a split mind and heart, a divided mind and heart can prevent you from utilizing the power of choice. But a divided mind, in other words, I can't really make up my mind about what I want. Got that? It says it can not prevent you from claiming this choice as your own. In other words, it can prevent you from utilizing the power of choice when you have a divided mind, but it can't prevent you from claiming this choice as your own. I can claim that I have the power to make a choice. Nothing can take that away from me, but I'm not utilizing my power of choice as long as I'm divided about what I want. Because as long as I'm divided about what I want, I'm not wholehearted. In other words, I want to be rich, but I think rich people are bad. I think people who have money, something's wrong with them. I want to be loved, but I'm very suspicious of forming relationships with people that are intimate. I want a new job, but I don't believe there's any jobs out there. You see what I'm saying? Whenever you don't ask for something when you ask for something without an opposing belief, it's wholehearted. It's a choice that manifests. When you ask for things and you don't wholeheartedly want it, you are neutralizing that, and it doesn't happen. And that's what the average person does. They very seldom ask for anything wholeheartedly. Oh, I think I'm ready for a new relationship. Yeah. And then somebody asks for your phone number. You know, that might mean you're not quite ready yet. You haven't quite healed that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm ready for a very fulfilling sex life in my relationship, yet you can't say the word sex. And people don't see the contradiction in that. You know, how could you wholeheartedly want something that you feel so guilty about that when another adult even says the word to you, you feel uncomfortable? You're probably not going to be a very good time. You probably not. Just a guess. Just a guess.
I'm sorry,
yes,
Earl, and you might have forgotten, but he said ask for something without.
Yeah, without
So
the.
I'm having a hard time with this
You
concept,
ask.
so
Okay, you
obviously-
asking. You ask for something without the opposing thought.
Okay,
thought.
that's
Yeah,
what you said.
when you ask for something, how the Course would put it, you ask for what you want, knowing that it's what you want that you're asking for. I love that. Ask for what you want, knowing that it's what you want that you're asking for. You know, I really want to have peace with everybody in this room. So therefore, I don't have a thought opposite to that, which is I can't have peace with everybody in this room because y'all might disappoint me or you might hurt me. So I'm not going to neutralize it. Like I can want the best for all of you, and I can feel good about all of you, and you can't do anything about that. You don't have any power over how I feel about you. So if I decide to love you, it doesn't matter whether you love me back. So there's no opposition if I've decided to give. It doesn't matter. What makes it a gift is that you can accept it or reject it. It's not a gift if you can't reject it. But you can't stop me from loving you if I want to. That can be done wholeheartedly, and I feel good when I do it. That was the gift. It came through me. I felt it. You know, the joy I feel for you, it's in me when I give it to you. It's powerful. Most people are waiting for it to come to them first, and then they say, I'll give it back after you give it to me. It's like people forget when you look in the mirror and you're smiling, it's actually not the mirror smiling back at you. It's you smiling. Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking at. You're not looking at the mirror smiling. You're looking at you smiling. So if you don't see people smiling back at you, you probably aren't doing much smiling. It was a new guy that moved in next door to me, and a couple of times, you know, we went to the elevator about the same time, and I thought he wasn't very friendly, and then it dawned on me that I wasn't saying anything to him. So I said, well, let me give what I want to receive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, brother, how you doing? How's the day going? You know, hope you're having a wonderful day. Yeah, man. I'm telling you what happened. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His whole persona changed when mine did.
Yeah.
So I love that this has gotten me to the point that I'll do that. I'll go, wait a minute, I'm saying this. I'm saying people aren't giving me any energy. I must not be giving any. I remember I was working for the phone company as an installer repairman, and I was in the first crew that worked for Bell South that was black, when they just started hiring black people and minorities. And supposedly the supervisor that I was working for was the most racist, this is in the South, it was the most racist supervisor that you could work for. And so I would notice that the guys in the crew had made this decision about him. So every time he would tell us something we had to do, then people would go into resentment, and then they would shoot out this negative energy, and then they would be the ones that he would be constantly up behind them to see what they were doing in their work and writing them up. And I was just getting into New Thought. And so I was hearing that he was me in another form, and no matter what's going on, I'm going to experience my beliefs about him. And so I would go up to him and say, what can I do to help you? I understand that you're carrying out the rules that you're being given. You're a first line supervisor. You're not really coming up with nothing that we're doing. You're being told from people above you what you should be doing. You know, what can I do to make your experience easier? And it wasn't brown nosing, it was using metaphysical truth. You know what I'm saying? He was the kind of guy that loved to take over, because he always could do anything better than us, you know. So when he would come out on the job, when I was wiring the house or doing whatever, I didn't think it was any reason that I needed to reinvent the wheel. He already knew, so I'd ask him. And then he would do just what the Course in Miracles says the Holy Spirit does. He says, the Course says the Holy Spirit, your higher divine self, will tell you what to do and then do it for you. Mm-hmm. I love that line. That if Spirit is really advising you, Spirit will inform you, and then Spirit can do it. Yeah. And I went, and that sounds like a good deal. Yeah, right? So when he came up, I would say, you know, and that's because I wanted to know what would be the best way to wire this that would make it easier. Why should I try to figure it out when he already knows? And I knew he was an Aries. I know he'd love to show me he was the best. So he would practically wire the whole house, and I would sit there and watch what he was doing. So when they were ready to have, and he was giving everybody else hell, and so he stopped even coming around me, checking up on me. And when they were ready to promote, have a promotion to the next level, he was the one that recommended me to be promoted to foreman. And so then I was the first black foreman that they ever had at Bell South in Memphis. So I ended up some Sundays being responsible for keeping the whole city running. The point that I'm making was, every time I applied the truth to the situation that I'm studying right here, then I got the result, which meant I was no longer on the pole in the winters going under the house and over there and doing all that stuff to ungrateful customers. Wait a minute, I gotta let it go. Okay, now, by practicing the truth, I was no longer in the weather.
Yeah.
That's my point. You know, and so when I got into the truth, that I was ready to practice the truth and go for what I really wanted to do in my heart, which was to teach, then I resigned, which they thought I was crazy because they were getting ready to move me up to the next level. But I knew that my heart wasn't in it, and that's what I told them. You deserve better than what I'm going to give you if I continue on this job, because this is not what my heart is into, and I'm going to do what it is I really want to do. Okay, and so my point is, this stuff does work, but you got to do it. You actually got to take that attitude and then apply it. I didn't just read this book and then see my boss come in and go, it's my boss's problem. They don't never appreciate me. They don't give me the right evaluation. I went, let me give what I want to receive. So therefore, I want to be supported. I want to be treated with respect. So I'm going to give that to him because he is me. He is me in another form. See, that's using spiritual truth as opposed to just talking it. So I don't care who your boss is. I don't care who your working situation is. I don't care who your mother is, your father is, your mother-in-law, sister-in-law, what you think of as your enemy. These laws will work if you apply them, which is I'm here to serve and be served. All that I give is given to myself. I'm just looking at myself, and what I'm giving to them is going to come back to me. And so I'm going to give what I want to receive. And then when it's a person you can't talk to, like you all's egos clash, so you can't just talk straight to each other and have a healing, then you let your higher self talk to their higher self. That's what you do. You bypass their ego altogether. Like if I was upset with you, but I couldn't reason with you, I would talk to you higher self to higher self. The God in me, talk to the God in him, so that we can go beyond this block. I just bypass your ego altogether.
True.
And that's what you do with anybody. You just bypass it. You know that there's a truth in them, a God in them, divinity in them, love in them, and you can sit in a corner somewhere, close your eyes, and have the conversation with them that you'd like to have with their personality, ego selves that you can't have. You'd be amazed at the changes that have happened in people you thought would never change. Because just the act of doing that is showing you have faith in their divinity, their higher self. Again, you're giving what you want to receive. Everything that we go through, you all, we've already been given the answers to how to deal with it. It's just that as adults, like the Course of Love says, we don't want to hear answers that we didn't make up. Did you know that? That adults don't like to use answers that they didn't think of. So one of the quickest ways to heal is to make it okay for you to receive answers and solutions that were beyond what you could think of. And that's what all these books do. They constantly give us solutions that we didn't think of. And so that's why we have the temptation not to ever use any of it. Did you know that? That the resistance that people say that they have isn't anything but they didn't think of it. And so therefore I don't want to use it because I didn't think of it. The male ego has to really watch that one. It's very difficult for the male ego to listen to direction that comes from someone else because the whole masculine principle is about me being in charge, me being the leader, me knowing what's the best thing to do. So, but the other thing about men, though, but if men do get to that point where they really respect what another man is saying, for instance, especially, they're the first ones who would die for. Like when you see on the battlefields and soldiers, men will die for what they believe in really, really quick because most men have a death urge anyway. So that's why they like to rock climb and ski and jump out of airplanes and all that stuff that men like. Because men have a death urge. They have a basic desire for freedom, to burst past any barriers. So men have a drive for freedom. Men want to empty themselves. Women want to be filled. The feminine wants to be filled. So the feminine is all about the love and filling me up, and the masculine is all about let me empty, let me be free. And that's why they miss each other a lot. That's the truth. That's the truth.
True.
Yeah. It's so anyway. So what a man should do is get a feminine relationship to their higher self, and then a masculine relationship to their world. I receive from my higher self, and then I go out in the world and I penetrate the world with what I've received. And, you know what I'm saying? And with the feminine, it's more like I'm gonna be proactive to what I'm receiving from the higher self, and then I'm gonna allow myself to receive from the world. There's a magnetic quality. I'm gonna open up and I'm gonna receive it. So anyway, that's a whole nother ball game that I'm talking about there. But it's not, I'm telling you, it's not as complicated as we made it. It's just, are we willing to listen and just use the new approaches so that we can have it easier? It's no need to reinvent the wheel. There's nothing you can come up with in any part of your life that the answer hasn't already been given by Spirit. I swear, it's already there. I just have to be willing to receive it. All right, and you deserve to be happy. So, would you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much with me tonight? And we all clap and remember together. Woo! Lord have mercy. All right, we'll do the love offering. Thank you very much for what you share with me, for sharing this. I hope it's not looked at as charity, but as an equal exchange of things that we both received, that we both appreciated. On Sunday, 1 o'clock, it's a Course in Miracles class. And I'm also available for one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions. And that explains these on here, so don't hesitate to get one or go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and it explains it. And I video all of my classes and put them on YouTube and on my website. So you get a chance to listen back to this again, because the more you hear it, the more you allow it to function and the more you allow it to work in your life. You know, so now, oh yeah, I'm speaking, it's Sunday at 11 o'clock too, at the 11 o'clock service here.
Right.
All right.
Nice.
Who wouldn't mind saying one thing that they heard tonight that they want to remember? One thing I heard tonight that I want to remember is.
One thing I heard tonight that I want to remember is, do you want to join or do you want to be separate with me?
Thank you.
That's really important for me to deal with today.
Thank you. Thank you. Me too. Anybody else? One thing you can say the same thing she said again, but it's just. But remember, when you say it out, you're getting it. So that would be like an opportunity to practice what we're talking about.
One thing, would you rather be right, or would you rather have God's joy and be happy?
Yeah, would you rather be right? And so we even got a person that demonstrate that for us. To show you how much we want to get that one tonight.
Yes.
So we know we want to get that one. One thing that I
Absolutely.
heard tonight that I want to remember is.
I will know when it's time because I will do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll be doing it.
One thing I remember that you were talking about that I still want to remember is when you were talking about people being attracted to going places where they're hearing what will validate their beliefs about themselves.
Right.
And that means they will trust that person,
Right.
even if it's not a loving message.
Even if it's not a loving message, they will stay right there with that person. And when you're saying stuff like I'm saying, you're an unlimited being. You are totally loved. You only deserve happiness. You are innocent, not guilty. The Course in Miracles says that is the hardest thing for people to accept. And that you will unconsciously stay away from people who say stuff like that to you. And I'm telling you, with what I tell people every week, you think it would be full in here, in there, and a line around the building. Those
Absolutely.
Right. Nah.
We'd be blocking all the driveways.
Yeah, we blocking. Right. We'd be blocking. Everybody be coming to the door mad. You know, what are all these cars? No. The Course in Miracles says that there would be, and the Course of Love too, people won't consciously avoid it. It will be an unconscious thing that you would do to avoid it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like you're going to sit up and say, well, I'm not going to go listen to Earl say that I'm innocent tonight. No, you'll have some very logical reason. And so it's not about coming here. You'll find that you'll avoid whether it's meditating on it, reading on it, going somewhere else. I'm just saying that idea will be avoided. That idea, just like when you want to be discouraged, you know who to call.
Sure.
And when you want to be encouraged, you know exactly who to pick up the phone and call. All of us do. When you're afraid to do something, you know who to call to tell you don't do it. And then if you really want to do something, you know exactly who to contact who's going to encourage you to do what you really want to do. So you already know, in a way you already know what you want by who you communicate with about what you want.
Absolutely.
It's really that simple. Keep on saying it. It's not complex. One more thing I want to remember.
Relationships with objects and not just people.
Yeah, that you can have special relationships with objects.
The concept of that, I never really thought about.
Because I've heard people say, well, that special relationship stuff you talk about, that doesn't apply to me because I'm not in a relationship. And I think that's hilarious. Because you're in relationships with everything in your life. Everything. Your TV, your bathtub, your clothes. And the definition that the Course gives of an idol is that an idol is anything you put before your peace. So children can become idols, as well as lovers or it's anything that's more important to you than your peace, because all of your power comes through your peace.
True.
So you can't help people if you don't have peace and center yourself. You can't give what you don't have. So to say I'm gonna give up my peace to make everybody else happy, and then after everybody else is happy, then it's gonna be my time. It'll never happen. You got to first choose for your joy, and then out of your joy, help the people around you, which is the opposite from what we're taught. So you're right. You know, if I'm getting ready to buy something, the first thing I try to ask myself is, if I lost this, or if it was destroyed or stolen, would I freak out? And then the inner voice says, yes, then I leave it on the shelf. If that wasn't there, you know, would I freak out? Then I don't need to buy it, because it's not going to bring me peace. Like when you know it is when you get a new car and you park it way over on the other side of the parking lot, away from everybody else at first. You know, I used to have cars nobody would. I would never have to worry about nobody. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even tell if they hit it. So I wasn't ready to get a new car until I keep my sanity if something happened to that car.
Yes.
You know, same thing about your relationships or anything. It's like, okay, am I gonna freak out every minute about this person? Okay, if I'm gonna freak out, I need to wait until I change my mind.
Do you think that would apply to if you're going to create something that you'd freak out if it was destroyed?
Right.
Should you just not create it, you think?
No, my take on that is not that you shouldn't create it. You should focus your attention on getting rid of the fear and attachment around it.
Try to figure out how to...
Yeah, like get an attitude where if it happened or if it didn't, you would still have peace. And then put all your energy into it. But first get the attitude that you're going to be all right either way it goes. So it's not you wouldn't do it. It would just be you changing as much as you could, your attachment to the outcome.
Right.
Right. So it wouldn't be used as an excuse.
Because it's not about the thing, it's about making the thing anyway.
Yeah, it's ultimately you are learning the correct perception of the thing.
Right.
That's all we're really learning is how to look at things correctly. You know, money will come to you faster if you feel like you're gonna have peace with it or without it. You know, when you attach to it, that's when it kind of eludes you. You know, I've read stories where people who have won 2 or 3 lotteries, the same person.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew why. You know, like the Bible says, "He who has shall be given." You know, you already got it, so you don't have any fear about not receiving it. So why can't more come?
Yeah.
Or like when you have a relationship is when you meet so many people that want to be with you. Then you're not in one. No, you know, you can't kill nothing, want nothing die. You know what I'm saying? Want nothing show up. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You got a job, you get job offers. Don't have a job, look like it's hard to have one. The universe is telling us that's the way it is, that those who have are the ones who have. So the truth says, say this to yourself: I already have it. I just want to remove the blocks to recognizing it.
I already have it.
I just want to remove the blocks to recognizing it. Okay, it's different. It's a difference between going after something because you believe it's there and going after something because you believe it's not there. You know, there already is the perfect relationship out there already for me. That's a reflection of what I am on the inside. What I need to do is get rid of all my fear of having it show up, which isn't the same as me going out there because I don't think I have one now, so now I'm about to go out there and get one. No, I already have one out there. I'm just removing all the blocks to me joining with it. See the difference? So you always go after something from the perspective that it's already there. You just want to remove everything that keeps you from seeing it or knowing it. That's it. Everything you want, it's already there.
Yeah.
The happiness that you deserve, the joy, the prosperity, the abundance, is already here. The only thing that's keeping you from experiencing it is some belief, some idea, some false perception. So that's what you want to let go of, is the perception that's incorrect. That's why we're together, because we deserve it, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, right.
Right. All right, appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming out. And helping me remember. That's what it's for. Helping me remember too. So hugs are available, and may the course be with you.